Welcome back to the Desk Talk podcast with your hosts, Trent Werner and Alex Magala, bringing you weekly episodes talking business, personal development, and all things real estate. Let's do it! Welcome back. 2021 is upon us. Happy New Year from us at Desk Talk. Today we just are going to talk about how 2020 went for us. A little year-end recap, review.
That's it.
What we learned, what we faced this year, what we could do different going forward in 2021. What's the biggest thing that you think that or the biggest obstacle that you faced in 2020? And we're talking business. I know there was a lot of things that went on.
That's true.
In just personal life 2020 and still going on. So we're going to keep this more business related, our personal businesses. So what was a business obstacle that you faced and overcame?
Oh, I wouldn't say I overcame it. I think the biggest projection is I'm going to overcome that come into 2021. But biggest obstacle I faced was pipeline, maintaining a pipeline. There was months where I literally had like 4 or 5, and then there was 0, and then there was 1, 2, and then 0. It was just the ebbs and flows of kind of your first year in the industry. And going into 2021, I think I've kind of slated it out to kind of stay consistent instead of have so many in 1 month and then nothing. Like, I'd rather have 2 and 2 than 4 and 0, in my opinion. So it's just gets me more used to kind of having a full pipeline.
So that's something that I still struggle with too. Not as much as I used to, but definitely, like, I feel like pipeline is like the whole business. So that's definitely the hardest part.
Yep.
What do you think or what are you planning on doing to change the whole ebbs and flows and have it more flowy instead of ebby?
Just doubling down on a ton of kind of education through content, through this podcast, through just different platforms that we've kind of set up in 2020 so that, I can kind of naturally just talk and reach a broader audience instead of the good old phone calls that I was on for kind of the first 6 months of this year, just dialing my database, trying to comb through that. I think it's easier to get to your database by providing value and having your database kind of see that value and then reach out to you instead of you reaching out to them.
It's really funny that you bring that up because I was just talking with AJ yesterday, and we were talking about how it doesn't seem like in-person networking and stuff like that is really going to be happening in the near future at all. So we were talking about how can we provide more value virtually, right? Obviously, like you're talking about marketing, educational content, which is going to provide education to other people. We do the WIN event, which is education as well, and a credit hour for brokers. Mm-hmm. But then we were talking about what about entertainment? Like, how can you, because so many people right now are caught up in like stress and everything that's going on. How can you provide someone with an hour or two that they can just forget about everything else that's going on, hang out with some friends, have a fun evening or afternoon, whenever it is, through entertainment virtually? And so that's something that we were talking about today at the brokers meeting. And
Zoom poker.
I've done that.
Yeah, well, we did that. We did that but I don't think you could do that and like market that and try and get a bunch of people, because you're promoting gambling. But there's definitely a way to, and that's a whole nother bucket that I bet you not many people are thinking of. So
I Googled it today, and I got a list of the 31 best virtual hosting ideas. A couple of them stood out to me. I'm not going to go through the whole list because I don't remember the whole list. Virtual escape room was an idea that was on there. I think that's more like team building, not necessarily networking and like hanging out this year, but that's more like a team building thing. A virtual mixologist. So there's like a company that you like go buy the stuff, and then the mixologist will like show you how to make the drinks.
Yep.
Same thing for
I know a realtor who does that right now.
Cooking. I think there's a cooking one.
He does it cooking and he does drinks.
And then
so I learned how to make a hot toddy through him.
Dude, I've been on a hot toddy kick lately.
But so he's doing that, and it's instead of kind of providing content through education around real estate, he's just providing. It's basically one step further than the typical realtor out there who sends to his or her database
A hot toddy recipe email?
Yeah, the hot toddy recipe email. And it's like it doesn't even just go to clients. It goes to me. And
it goes to everyone.
It goes to everyone that they've ever worked with, talked to. It's anyone's email they have it goes to. And it's just like, it's so dry and boring. And what's the next step past that, what he's doing? Or it's take video into it. Maybe send a video message in email. Or, I mean, there's just so many. I saw so many people this year take advantage of not sending a card, but sending video kind of messages through email. And so it was something that it was easy to record and then just hit with their database. And they could personalize it. They could do it that way. It was just, there's so many different ways to kind of do things.
What if you did a video of yourself making a hot toddy and sent it in an email? Like a
That's better than a recipe.
A Food Network video, but you're the star.
Yeah. I mean, I from the mortgage side of things don't think that that's going to come out of me, but because the biggest side in my business is education. I think so many people just don't know what and how and a mortgage can and do for you. So it's just education, but also relationships. So it is a side of relationships, but in my opinion, doubling down on content through education, I think is going to bring relationships where then I can talk to people more one-on-one. And that's my kind of, I'm what I said in roulette. I'm putting all my cash on one number right now, and that's what I'm doing. Education
content.
Educational content.
All right.
I even told that I got sucked into a sales call, and I almost did it because it's pretty crazy platform, and it's just like a holistic view. It's the whole home bar, everything that I kind of already use, and it just wraps it into one, and it wraps in like broker. It just does this crazy, powerful kind of platform to throw clients in, and it's post-closing, pre-closing, during, and post, and like afterwards it tells you like, hey, every year, don't forget to do this on your home, blah, 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 simple. Like there's just like all this knowledge and information to send to them just constantly to stay in touch and hit your database. And I was like, wow, that's really dope. That blows my mind away. Like I really, really like that. And I went through like 3 or 4 sales calls with them. And in my head the whole time I was like, I shouldn't do this because I just really want to double down on this year. And I couldn't come up with an excuse better than simply that to them. And they just were like, wow, like, okay, all right. And I felt bad. I was like, maybe 6 months from now or maybe next year, like I'll do this, but I just can't put all my effort into this kind of platform right now. But there's just so many ways out there to kind of help yourself. But like I told them, shotgun approach. I don't want to shoot at everything and not be able to put 100% effort into something and not really see if it works out. It's like I'd rather get proficient at doing this and then start building things into my business.
I still have to do that, by the way. That going on, like the whole 2020 recap thing, that my biggest thing too has probably been the pipeline and marketing and being better at touching my sphere, making sure that people around me like are good. And so marketing and relationship is definitely my focus going forward because that was kind of an obstacle that I faced as well.
What are you going to do to kind of focus on those? What are the ways?
I would say the biggest ways right now are similar to what you're talking about, where it's content focused. Not only that, though, I've been making it a priority to reach out to more people. I'm engaging in more stories, posts, that kind of thing, just quickly. Like, oh, like, hey, that looks awesome, or congratulations, that kind of thing. Birthdays, if I have your phone number, I'm going to text you on your birthday. Same thing if you get engaged or like a big life moment, that kind of thing, I'll send you a congratulations text instead of just like a post on your wall or a DM. You know, if I have your phone number, I'll text you, that kind of thing, which I think helps with more personal touches. I'm interacting with my sphere, that kind of thing. So
totally,
those are definitely going to be my main focus. Jess and I are kind of laying out a 2020 marketing kind of plan.
Agenda.
Yeah. She's going to hopefully... She actually has experience in that from her previous job, so she knows a lot more about it than I do, and is going to help me with it, which I'm pretty pumped about. So,
that's pretty nice. That makes it good to have kind of a shoulder to lean on or a team to kind of work with. It's really hard to do this alone. As good as you may be at everything, you could be a jack of all trades, but you're a master of none, and it's just that's kind of what I tell people I am. It's just like I'd rather have someone who's a master to help me out instead of me trying to spend hours.
Teach yourself how to edit and all that stuff. And
Yeah, no, I tried to do that. Actually, we did do that. I did that for a little bit.
Yeah. And you're not bad.
I mean, dude, it was minimal.
Yeah,
compared to what some people do. Like,
you set it up correctly.
Yeah, I just knew how to kind of quickly do it with the gear that we have versus some people out there who spend hours and hours and hours and hours. Like I'd sit through forums and read them, and it's like a 4-to-1 ratio of editing to length of their podcast. So if their podcast is an hour, they spend 4 hours editing it. It's just like, wow.
Yeah.
I don't have that time.
No.
So I find a master.
It's funny, too, because in 2020, I told myself I was going to learn and, like, edit my own photos and everything. I downloaded Photoshop and uninstalled it the next day because it was there was so much going on.
See, there's things.
Kyle's laughing.
Yeah, there's things where I'm going to slowly teach myself for other avenues of streams of income. I'm going to teach myself eventually Photoshop, not for my mortgage business, for something else. It's just like little skills like that. But yeah, I guess another thing to throw at 2021 of a big major thing I'm trying to push is opening up my sphere like to more people and being able to kind of refer it out. So I get a lot of calls where I don't have a connection and then I have to go out and reach out and figure it out. And it's like, instead of an instant reply of like, here's like 4 or 5 people to talk to, that's like what I'm going to try and work on, is really getting like a solid financial planner database, this, and be able to just instantly refer instead of, let me get back to you on that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and there's a lot. I mean, it goes deeper than just realtor, financial planner, attorney, divorce attorney. There's like commercial
CPA,
real estate. Yeah, CPA. There's just so many. And
different contractors is a big one. If your client's that
just like open, like figuring out who I can easily, because I kind of be that all one-stop shop for everything. And it's like, that's what I'm here for. And that's what I tell people, is just like, any questions, anything, like hit me with it, and don't waste your time. Like, I can go and find it for you. And technically it is a waste of my time. So if I were to go out and find relationships for that and be able to just, it's not wasting either of our times because I know someone. Here you go. Mm-hmm. That's kind of the biggest thing. That I feel like that is what I wasted a lot of time on this year, was figuring out connections for people.
So it sounds like marketing and growing your network.
Yep. Which growing your network is going to be hard with COVID.
Biggerpockets.com.
I know.
Social media.
That's we talked about it. It's in my 2021 plan. I'm going to hop on that forum a lot. Like I said, I'm going to work from home a lot more in 2021 now too. So that's going to be like a big boost, is be able to do a lot more from home and kind of have the leisure to expand, meet people at whatever hour I really want, and not be stuck in my office and confined to work there.
Yeah. What was your biggest win in 2020?
Switching, figuring out, kind of going from being an absolute loser to a winner, and like figuring out that change.
That was blunt.
I mean, yeah, it's just honest. It's like, I was an absolute loser in the first 6 months, just doing nothing.
I wouldn't say you were a loser.
I was doing stuff, but I was losing. So therefore, I classify myself as a loser.
You were dealing with the growing pains and the learning period.
But I mean, I went from hard sales where like losing a deal was losing a deal. And that is what I lost so many deals in my first 6 months. Deals, transactions, whatever you want to call them in this industry. But that, figuring out that switch and how to implement that switch kind of quickly to, in the next 6 months, completely change my path. So yeah, that was my biggest kind of victory, I'd say, is figuring out how to change quickly.
I do think too, because you talked about a little bit earlier, cold calling, or not cold calling necessarily, but hammering the phones versus finding business in using a different medium. I went through that same phase. It might have been early 2020 or late 2019, where we had just got a new database. There was a lot of leads coming in, and I was calling these people, texting these people, emailing these people. We had a 12-touch program, everything. Like, I was going through it, and I was getting nothing. And I thought to myself, okay, there's this way of doing it, and then there's got to be another way, whether it's open houses, which I also am not a big fan of. But there's so many different ways that you can approach gaining or building your business, right? And when I went through I have to cold call. It's all about calling. It's all about, these aren't cold calls. These are warm leads, whatever. into I'm just gonna like
Just do me.
make more friends and
Yeah.
like actually care about more people. Like I love, and this has been the hardest part of 2020 was I love like hanging out with people and talking with people, meeting new people, like learning about other people's perspectives, because I think that's so fascinating. And there wasn't a whole lot of that, and so now it's kind of turned into the social media and online communication, which is fine, still communicating with people. But when I went from I'm going to make 50 phone calls today to I'm going to text this many people, this many friends, message this many people, react to this many, like post on Bear, but whatever it is, I enjoy it more. And I think my business did grow year over year, but it seems easier for me. It's not as daunting.
Doing something that you enjoy versus cold calling is not very fun, but it produces business. It's just that it's a numbers game, and that's what everyone tells you when you pick up the phone. It's just a numbers game. It's a numbers game. Just the more you call, the better. And it's true. It works. Like, don't get me wrong. You can't knock it because it works, and it's worked for a long, long time. But I think over time it's slowly going to phase out because it's not working for our generation. It's just phones do not seem to catch people as often as you did back in the day. So
when there was no text messaging and social media,
it's literally like you'll call a friend and a friend won't answer your phone call, and within 2 seconds they're like, "Hey, what's up?" And it's a text, and so you're just like, "Wait, why couldn't you even answer the phone?" It's a problem. So how can you kind of adapt and shift in this way and then do something you enjoy more? And that was for me, figuring out that switch was just doing things that I enjoyed and finding people. Like, the summer was prime for me to, okay, 2 p.m., I don't have much work left to do. There's 2:30 tea time. It's one person left. There's 3 randoms. Book it. I'll be out there. I'm talking to 3 random people, doing something that we both enjoy. So it's the same thing as, it's like there's an app, it's called like Meetup. And obviously during COVID, it's really hard right now. But when it wasn't COVID, back in 2019, when I kind of first started at Fairway, October, November, December, this was something I was really big on, was the Meetup app. You'd go on like hikes and you'd have like your dogs with you, and you're meeting other people doing activities that you are already kind of paired and liked. So there's something already common between you. You're not you're not breaking the ice in a weird way. It's just like, oh, you like to hike, I like to hike. Oh, what do you do for work? That's the most common question. Like, the first 2 questions someone's going to ask you is, what do you do for work? So that was big, is just those meetup groups, and I turned technically those meetups into, during COVID, things I could still do, and it worked. I mean, could not tell you how many times I hopped on a Zoom call with people that weren't my kind of sphere, and I played this game called Jackbox TV with them, and it was just, I was friends with one of them, but I hopped on their friend group Zoom to like make it more enjoyable, and I got people out of it just to talk to and go golf with, and it turned into more and more. I mean, we have our faces on our cars, so the amount of times we went out and golfed together, and people were like, oh hey, and literally I got a deal out of it. You were there at Chehalem, you witnessed it. The guy just literally talked to me, and he was like, what are jumbo rates? And I hit him with it, and then he called me like 3 days later. It's just like, it happens. So you go out and do things you enjoy, and you surround yourself with things, you bring in a vibe that's different than a sales vibe. And so I think that's like, hammer that in 2021 as well, is just do things you enjoy. It'll attract more people than pushing down someone's throat. Hey, you need to sell your home. It's a great time to buy. Sending mailers 24/7. It's different. Relationships are huge.
Yeah, and there's with mailers and other highly expensive or more expensive marketing strategies, there's a lot of costs associated with that. With meeting new people and going and playing golf with 3 random people that, you want to play golf anyway, so might as well play with 3 random people instead of yourself, kind of thing. That's a time investment, but it doesn't cost you a whole lot of money to go on Meetup or wherever meet new people.
Yeah, I mean, most of those Meetup things are free.
Yeah.
The whole goal, like doing a hobby, obviously that costs money, but in general,
you're going to do it anyway.
Yeah, but you also look at it like, I'm out there during business hours and I'm talking about business, so theoretically it's a business write-off. It's like, most of my golf rounds this year were business write-offs, and it could pair directly with the foursome. I could literally take the card that I wrote my foursome's names down with and we're scoring with the deal that I got from that golf course. It's just like, it happens. Just being out there, you're investing in your business ultimately. So I didn't look at it. That's the same thing as going into 2021. Why do I want to become a member at a golf course? Why do I want to become a club guy? I'm going to become a club guy in 2021. And it's because my car is going to be out there more. I'm going to be out there on the golf course more, talking to more people, involved with more people. 2021, potentially events could come back in. You've got the whole event center that you could use. I could start to throw, first-time home buyer meetings there, or just investor meetings there, like ask me any questions, just things like that where I don't have access to that unless I am a member.
The amount of people that I golfed with, or I have golfed with and still golf with at TCC that say, I know you. I've never met you before. Oh, yeah, you're all over the parking lot. So the face on my car definitely works at the club. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah. Funny story. So when I was home over Christmas, I got a cold DM in my LinkedIn. They wanted me to take over a farmer's insurance business. So they wanted me to buy this girl's book out. And it was generating 20 to 25K a month, sounded really sweet, and hopped on the phone with these guys. And it's always open to opportunities, but I'm likely never going to jump from this industry. Mm-hmm. And so I was just hearing him out, and the guy was like, yeah, it doesn't really sound like you want to do this. I was like, no, I really don't. I'm comfortable here. It's going to take a lot to get me out of this position. And he was like, yeah, no, I know exactly who you are. I see your face every day. And I was like, oh, really? And he's like, yeah, your car is parked in the same lot as me. We work in the same building. So it's the farmers literally at the bottom of this River Forum building. They wanted me to buy someone's book of business out under them. And the guy was like, yeah, no, I see your face every day. He's like, good marketing though. So it's just it works. People see you.
Yeah.
They get familiar with you. I didn't know the guy. I've never even seen him, but he knew me.
Going back to the deal that you're talking about from Chehalem, I'm pretty sure I was 77 that day. So just wanted to throw that out there so that fact didn't get missed about, Alex may have gotten a deal that day, but your boy shot a 77 that day. So
I will take 120 in a deal any day of the week.
I'm trying to think about. I feel like everyone was talking about how 2020 was a rough year, and there's definitely been some obstacles and hardships.
Separate personal versus business.
Yeah, personally, there were some tough times, whatever. I had a great year. Business, I really feel like the whole year was a win.
Agreed. I mean, that was
increased my gross sales volume, my commissions. Added a new role, so I'm managing properties. Doubled my units. Business-wise, I had a huge year, and I'm pumped about it.
A lot of people, I think the biggest thing where people are going to say that 2020 was a big problem for them or this or that is the people that didn't take advantage of what was kind of presented to them, this grand opportunity of a shitload of time, where instead of being stuck in an office, you now have time to do really whatever you want. And it's we launched a podcast right in the middle of this pandemic and just sent it and full-timed it, and now are launching 2 days a week. There's just so many things that we took advantage of that now we see a grander, a long-term vision of, versus people that didn't really do anything and now don't see a long-term vision or don't really have much hope. And so that's the biggest thing is why, yeah, we can talk about being fired up, but there's a lot of people out there who didn't take advantage of what was presented to them on, in my opinion, just a silver platter. Here you go. Just do what you want. So much time was given to you this year.
That's really interesting because I never thought about that. You have those people that they work in an office and they're required to be there, 8 to 4 or 9 to 5, whatever it is, plus lunch, minus that. I don't know. I don't do that anymore.
8 to 5 plus lunch.
Yeah.
9 to 6 plus lunch.
Yeah. But so they're required to be in an office for most of these jobs. When they got sent home and are able to work from home, you can kind of do I'm going to get my stuff done and I have extra time.
You can get it done quick and, have extra time.
And, yeah, it's weird.
Did they take advantage of it? Did they play some video game? It's just cool. If you were into video games, could you have bought a streaming camera and just started a stream and done it an hour or two a day? There's just so many little things where you had time, you had opportunities. Did you take advantage of them? The people that say 2020 was the worst year ever probably didn't take advantage of it. The people that were it was bad, granted, but it was still good. Those are the ones that took advantage of small opportunities that were kind of presented on a silver platter to them.
I said it in an earlier Fast Paced Friday episode, 2020 is the best year ever.
We talked about it a lot, finding those side hustles and just jumping into it and trying it out because you have that time. Probably didn't resonate with a lot of people, but it's just, I mean, there's so many things out there. So many things.
Going into 2021, now that we're here, from 2020, aside from, I've heard you talk about the marketing and the network growth and the country club guy, is there any other focuses that you have for 2021?
I mean, obviously the podcast.
Yeah.
A lot of effort into the podcast and pushing that. I mean, there's not really personal life. You could talk about like focuses in my personal life but my personal life kind of revolves around my business in a sense.
And we're talking business today. We're talking business.
So yeah, no, 2021, that's my focus. Like I said, I don't want a shotgun approach and not be able to put, like if I have 4 things to focus on, I want to be able to put 100% effort into kind of those 4 things and not run out of time. So that's the biggest thing is like if you put too much on your plate, how are you going to compete with that versus take my 4 things and let me just hammer in on those, become super efficient in a year with doing those, and then go into 2022, now I can bring in other things. That's, in my opinion, the scaling of my business, is to just become super proficient in things and then scale. I don't technically need someone if I can become proficient in these base kind of building your foundation. It's what we've talked about a lot. I need to build my foundation, and that's basically what I'm doing. 2021. It's just hammering down on that foundation. So then I can start to trickle in other people potentially or other things.
Side note about golf, what's your golf goal for 2021 aside from joining a club?
So I'm joining that Northwest Golf Guys. So
I love them.
My handicap.
They're fun.
I want my handicap to be
your index
8 or below.
Whoa.
But hear me out.
Whoa.
I'm taking a lot of lessons. So,
what are you at right now?
Well, dude,
aren't you at like a 14 or
less than that? I think I'm at like 11 or 12.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's not as crazy.
No,
I thought you were still at like 16.
I'm consistent in the 80s now.
Okay,
high 80s.
Okay.
Not 90s, not 100s anymore. I started the season at a 19 handicap, but I played so much.
And you're at an
this year.
11 something now?
Yeah, but I literally played. How many rounds did you play? I played just below you. I think like 12 or 13. We counted our scorecards at one time.
I just did the numbers. I am at 76 rounds for the year.
Yeah, I mean, I have all my scorecards, so I could count it. But I played a lot, and that's where I start to factor in how much I spent on golf this year. Being a club guy is way better.
Exactly. Now you know where I am.
No. I get
okay,
it.
70. I think I'm at 76 rounds. 76, 77 rounds.
So call me 50, 54, 55.
And imagine paying for range balls when you want to go hit range balls.
Yeah,
all that.
I really just showed and played, though. But no, it's definitely worth it. I've already calculated it. It makes 100% sense. I'm becoming a club guy. It's a no-brainer. It's just becoming a club guy means I'm going to play a lot more golf, and I'm fine with that. But hopefully that transcends to meeting a lot more people.
It will.
That's what I'm saying. Is like
it will.
I don't look at it as I'm spending that money. It's an investment. Most of the stuff that I'm looking at is investment in my business. Like, shit, you look at a lot of my income and what I put it into this year was investments in my business. Like, I didn't really spend it for fun.
Yeah. Once you play in the member, you play in the member guest, you play in the club championship, you play in the Chapman, like those tournaments that you'll play in, because I highly encourage it. They're fun as hell. You'll meet so many dudes there that, like, now you have a weekend group. Now you have the, Sunday morning group. Like,
yep.
It's worth it.
Goal to do that and then buy a house and then boom, do the same thing in Nevada and then boom, same thing in Arizona.
Join a club in Nevada?
Between all of them. Yeah. Yep. That's my 10-year plan. Boom. You guys just heard it here. Call me out if I don't make it in 10 years.
I like Arizona in here. That's my plan for Arizona in here.
I mean, Nevada's home, so
your golf goal should be is to beat me straight up. Because that's a lofty goal for you.
I mean, I could probably do it. I just need to catch you on a really off day, and I need to have a hot day.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is, so that's also it, is I've invested in my golf game. You should see my new putter.
Did you get a lab putter?
Yep.
You did get it? Dang, we'll talk about that after this. But now now it's a business and golf podcast.
We should probably just end it here. Rambling at
All
this
right.
point.
That's our 2020 recap. Go get it in 2021. Yes, there's outside factors that are influencing your daily life and your career life.
Don't make excuses.
Don't be a victim. Find a way through it.
Hold us accountable.
Yep. You have plenty of time. You have more time for yourself. Take advantage of it. Use it wisely. And have a great year. Adios.
Peace. That's the end of today's episode. Thank you for tuning in. It truly means a lot to us. If you haven't already, please subscribe and share this with friends. This helps fuel the podcast and gets more and more guests on our show. Hey, go follow us on Instagram as well. Desk Talk Podcast. Go connect with Trent and I as well. We're on Instagram too, LinkedIn, you name it. Stay tuned for more episodes. Peace.